Dr. Avantika Ghosh and a speaker, Mr. Devajyoti Roy, Senior Manager from Genpact. And the topic is very much, uh, updated topic, and it is relevant in nowadays. Skilling and upskilling, the two words are here. That is, skill is essential, but upskilling is necessary for to cope up with the dynamic changes and rapidity in the technological as well as economic environment. And basic pedagogy in this regards is very much important. That is, pedagogy means learning. That is, to create a collaboration, to create a link, or to create a linkage between these two, skilling and upskilling. Skilling is a continuous process. Skilling is a, I think today's skilling is a static process, not a continuous process. But upskilling, that is, skilling more, the skilled people should be made more efficient to cope up with the changing situation. We know the application of AIs is very challenging for the existing people, existing youth who are seeking employment, because whatever we learn, whatever the pedagogy is said for any kind of professionals or any kind of academician, it requires the linkage of employability. Every student think for an employment, whether it is a professional employment, it is a service employment, or it is a business activities, whatever it may be. But the topic chosen by our three seminar experts, three seminar conveners, Dr. Devishri Banerjee, Dr. Annesha Sengupta, and Mrs. Sanat Singh, is very much relevant. And the speakers, I think, they will deliver the problems and how to come out with a solution, how to face the coming problems, coming challenges, which require the upliftment of skill to upskill. That is, we are skilled, we have some skill, but how it can be upskilled or enhanced so that the students or the future employees can get a knowledge and can gather a knowledge to what I'll say, to face the problems or to initiate themselves with the changing situation. This is a dynamic process, and every day it will be changing. Every day it will be changing, like the development of softwares. Because today we are not just going with the softwares, but with the development of the softwares, and we have to cope up with the developmental process. So knowledge is essential. So knowledge will be the ultimate pedagogy for skill, to make the people skill to upskill. So I think I ensure that the lectures by the speakers will encourage you and give you a lot of exposures for facing the future problems, future challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for introducing the topic so nicely. Now I would request a student of ours to felicitate our esteemed speaker, Shri Devajyoti Roy. Ma'am, with your permission, shall we start with the program? Okay. So I'll give a very brief introduction of our today's first speaker. Shri Devajyoti Roy is a senior manager at Genpact. He is MCOM MBA, and he has more than 15 years of industry experience. Today he will be enlightening us on the topic skilling and upskilling pedagogy. Thank you.
Okay. Hello everyone. So first of all, good afternoon to all the respected sirs and madams, and obviously my fellow colleagues and all the dear students. So today I'll take you through some of the basic skills and upskilling that is basically required for nowadays for getting into any of the organization or company or getting into a some sort of other jobs, not only MNC but in respect to other jobs also. So first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Debojyoti Roy. I am currently engaged with Genpact and working as a senior manager for almost 7 years. I have a total experience of 15, 16 plus years. So I started my career with PricewaterhouseCoopers and I worked there for 5 plus years. Then I moved to Capgemini. There I had almost worked for 4.5 years. Now I am into Genpact. So Genpact is basically a multinational company. It is based out of US. Head office is US, but it has different offices in different parts of the world. So almost we have a total employee strength of 82 to 90,000, and it is still growing. So that is one of the good things, that India is getting more jobs, more opportunities, and obviously each of the organizations is nowadays looking for a freshers who can actually work as per the company laws and the compliances, and which will actually benefit the company, and also it would be good for the fresher to get a new role and a new job. So fine, I'll just quickly take you through a little small slides. Probably I'll take 15-20 minutes of your time to show you some of the basic things. Yeah, I like. Okay. I think I am audible, right? Okay. So today, basically, as already HOD sir and principal ma'am already highlighted, our topic will be to discuss some of the basic things related to skilling and upskilling. Okay, so I would like to take you through the introduction page. If you can see, I have actually put three categories. Okay, for this particular topic, what is skilling, why upskilling is required, and why it matters. So the first thing is that skilling is something where you are actually currently you are actually doing something, or maybe you are actually enhance that particular field, or you are actually learning that particular thing. Maybe for an example, you are learning Tally along with your commerce course. So that is basically you are skilling up yourself. Okay, so what is upskilling? Upskilling is something where you should learn something as per the company standard or company requirement. So right now, if you get into a job market, you will see for a commerce requirement, there is a minimum requirement of a Tally or a Excel, which is very much required. But when when there is a requirement for upskilling, we should obviously look forward for a AI or some of the language programs, or some of the basic ideas related to chat GPT. This is something very much required in nowadays. So whenever you are getting into any of the job interviews or any of the profession, it's very important that you should upskill your knowledge, okay, based on the company structure and the requirement. Because as I was mentioning, whenever you are going to get into any job role, or whenever you are going to get into any interviews, obviously there are basic requirements. Those will be actually given in your JD or a job description, like a candidate should be a commerce background, a candidate should be a Excel or Tally knowledge should be there. But when you are getting into an interview, it's very important that you should actually know something apart from this. Okay, so that is basically requirement of upskilling. So why we do upskilling? Just to ensure that whenever we are getting into so okay, so that is basically the requirement of upskilling. So it's very important that we should be stand out of the whole population whenever we are going to give any interview or any sort of other examinations related to job interviews, or some public interviews like public professions. So wherever you go, these are some of the added advantage if you have upskill your knowledge. So that is what I was trying to say, that this is what matters actually nowadays. So whenever you are going to for a job interview or anything, these are certain criteria obviously the employer should look forward. So basically, that second slide is related to the objective. So objective is basically why is the requirement of upskill your knowledge. Okay, the reason because every day our platform of working, the structure of doing things are getting changing. Okay, earlier we used to do work in the hard copies like pen, pencil or a paper. We used to do that. We used to show the report based on that. After that, the Excel programs, the Microsoft Word, and other MS Office stuffs actually came into the picture. We started using that, and then we actually trying to forecast all our reporting and everything based on that. But now the situation is something different. I know everyone is aware what is MS Office, MS Excel, but now we have started using automated intelligence, or you can say AI. So in terms of AI, there are different platforms. I think everyone should have that ChatGPT is there, Google Gemini, or NVIDIA. There are different types of AI algorithms which basically getting used on a day-to-day basis to perform our job. Right now, for an example, I would say earlier we used to type a email, okay, for sending it to our client or customer. Nowadays, the thing is that we just prompt what is the requirement, and AI actually does that for us. So, so from that perspective, I would like to say that everyone is nowadays is using mobile and WhatsApp, but I don't know whether you have seen the applications of AI in WhatsApp or maybe in Google also there is an option called Gemini or AI tool, which is basically used for the purpose of giving response or to frame something which would be easier for you for studies or for getting into any of the job role or in performing any of the tasks. So that is basically what is very essential. So this is something I would like to emphasize more, that regular day-to-day basis your studies, your learning related to the processes or maybe the way you are actually going to put forward yourself for the next sort of interviews or anything. So that is absolutely fine, but upskilling yourself is very important nowadays, because whenever company is going to recruit someone, it's very important that the employer should look something different from yourself. Okay, so that added advantage is obviously going to be a good key points whenever you are going for a job interview. So, so next slide is basically the job market overview. So what is the current market and what is the requirement from current organization? I would specifically go for the private sectors, public sectors. I am not so much aware because I am not a guy who is working in a public sector job. But from private sector, there are 3 or 4 segments where it is very much a requirement. I would say from knowledge perspective, and also there are a lot of opportunities also nowadays with respect to IT is one of the key factors and key say department that is basically recruiting lot of people. I think you guys have heard about TCS, then we have heard about Capgemini, Cognizant. So those are particular organization who basically focused on IT recruitment. So they are uh, major chunk of people they actually recruit based on the IT field. So for that, basically they would like to look for an engineering or a technological guy. So apart from that, there is finance, from where I am actually belong from. I am actually working with Genpact. So Genpact is basically a finance company. Though this company basically deals with your regular purchase, sales, balance sheet, general ledger, then your day-to-day reportings that we generally do. So we have a different segment of clients with our organization or our company. Like we generally focused on pharmaceutical companies. We generally do the reportings as well as uh, financial analysis, for some of the say digital companies or maybe some of the manufacturing companies. So there is also a requirement of lot of strength of the people who can actually support this company to grow faster and also help them to deliver the project with their clients. Okay, and other two, that is the marketing and the trade. So marketing, I think everyone knows that today marketing jobs are also very much in demand. So you will see many organizations are recruiting people like HDFC, HSBC, lot of other banks. Those are belongs to private sector. They are also recruiting these marketing guys. Like you have seen that people are approaching you for credit cards, for loans. So this is comes under the marketing strategy. So there is also a lot of requirement from overall job perspective. And last one is the trends. So this is something which has came up recently after this COVID. Uh, After this COVID, so basically this is something nowadays is very famous for the remote jobs. Okay, and also for to some of the analysis or the budgeting and reporting which can be done remotely. So there are few companies like Nvidia, like there are other companies like Nvidia, like Google, in fact Amazon. They have actually started taking people who can support them remotely, okay, and they can actually did their job based on the requirement from that particular client or maybe the maybe you can say the customer that they are dealing with. Okay, so I would like to ask if you have any questions on this job market, because I know everyone is almost in the verge of completing your BCom honors. Probably you will be planning to do masters or MBA. But anyone have any question related to the current job market, you can ask me. Okay, so fine. So this is something probably you can keep that in your mind, that how basically the job market is basically designed now. So one is IT, one is finance, one is marketing, and another is the remote support that currently the multinational companies are looking forward. So this is very nowadays is booming, I would say, because lot of people are supporting customers remotely and they are earning lot of monies by doing that. So this is also quite trending nowadays. But if you are looking for a full-time employment, or then obviously there are IT, finance, and marketing jobs. And obviously from Kolkata perspective, I would say there are a lot of opportunities nowadays. I am not going to compare with Hyderabad, Bangalore, or maybe the tier one cities like Mumbai and Delhi. But nowadays Kolkata is also growing. Okay, there are a lot of opportunities coming up and a lot of investments are also doing by lot of organizations like Reliance, Adani. So you will see lot of opportunities in the near coming future. Okay, so the next thing I would like to tell you regarding some of the essential skills basically that as a employer, obviously if I'm going to take someone's interview, it's very important that I should look forward for these specific skills. Like whenever I'm going to take an interview, whether this is something which is there for that particular person or not, that matters a lot whenever you are going to get into any interview for any of the organizations, whether it's IT, finance, or marketing. So, like hard skill, what do we call it as hard skill? Hard skill is basically nowadays you can call it as cloud computing, you can call it as Python, programming. Okay, from commerce background, I would say like SAP knowledge, like Oracle knowledge. Then, if you have knowledge with Power BI, so this is called as hard skill knowledge. So basically this is very much required. So the first thing that is mentioned, you can see Python, Java, cloud computing. So if you are not an engineering student or a technical student, obviously you don't have to look for that. But if you are a finance guy, it's very important that you should try to learn some of the basic skill for SAP, some of the basic things related to financial modeling. This is literally important nowadays. Now the second thing is the soft skills. So soft skill is basically what probably I think you guys were doing during your college tenure, like teamwork, some of the problem solving things like a group discussion. Okay, so any topic probably given by your ma'am or sir, and you have discussed that and given your feedback on that, or maybe your points, particular points on that. So this is also a specific skill. Okay, so I came here, I am telling something to you. That's not basically my part of job, but why I came you, I can also learn something by doing this, having this discussion with all of you, by presenting something to all of you, so that I can also get some exposure going forward, and probably when I'll be having a large audience, I will be much more experienced enough to do so. Okay, so this is basically soft skill, and it's very important nowadays that a good communication skill, your presentation skill, that's very important. So whenever you are getting into any job interview or anything, it's very important that you should be sound enough, or you should be prepared enough, I would say. The last very important thing is the digital skill. Digital skill is something called as LinkedIn branding or online portfolios. LinkedIn branding, I am not sure how much have you do you guys know or not. So it's very important nowadays to get into a job. You should have a LinkedIn profile. Okay, so LinkedIn profile is something from where the job seekers will figure out your potential capabilities, your experiences, or your educational qualification, and based on that, probably they will find out whether you are suitable for that job or not. So I would suggest once you complete your graduation or masters, it's important you should create your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so this is important, and obviously online portfolio. So this is something comes after you create something in LinkedIn, but online portfolios is something you should have a proper resume, a covered page, the way you have actually studied so far, what are the projects if you have done, or what are the engagement work you have worked upon. So those should actually comes in your online portfolios. Now the second thing, this is something already I have discussed, like project-based learning, internship, workshop or seminar, and peer learning. So this is something, some of the learning strategy, I would say, where you can upskill your knowledge on a day-to-day basis. So if you really interested on any of the projects related to finance, you can go to YouTube, or you can check with your ma'ams. They can actually support you to work on that specific project, and also they can help you how to execute that project. So this will be a good learning, and this experience actually obviously going to matters you whenever you are going to get into any specific job or any interviews. So project based learning, so I can share one small example, like when we did MBA or masters. Okay, so there was a specific project which has been assigned to us. There was a group of 6 or 7 people or students who will actually work on that particular project and will deliver after a certain point of time with our key analysis. If I remember, I actually did something on uh, there was a crisis once upon a time, a long back. I don't know whether you guys knew or not. So there was a great depression happened. Okay, like a lot of banks, Merrill Clover, then you have Goldman Sachs, other banks, those who are actually got bankrupted. Okay, and what was the reason behind that? That project was actually assigned to us. Based on that, we have actually prepared a report, prepared our analysis, and submitted that. So this is some of the learnings I actually did during my time of MBA as well as master. So similar things probably you can also do so during your time at the college, or probably that will be included in your syllabus also. I am not exactly sure, but this should be a part of your syllabus, because practical knowledge, how the current world, or how the current multinational companies are actually growing up or running, that is very important. So I would suggest, obviously you can go through your day-to-day studies, your syllabus, but practical knowledge is very important if you are looking for a private company jobs. Okay, public sector, obviously there are difficult exams that you need to clear. So that is a different type of all perspective, I would say, because in public sector, most of the companies, you have to give a very tough examination, and after that, once you clear that, then you have to call for a group discussion and interviews, then you can obviously get that job. But in private sector, there is no written examination. It would be a face-to-face interview altogether. So within half an hour or 45 minutes, you have to basically explain what are the things you have done so far and how you are going to present yourself to that particular organization. That's important. Okay. So this is some of the upskilling strategies for nowadays, how we should go ahead and do a job search. So certification, obviously, as I was mentioning, AWS, Cloud, Cisco. So nowadays, if you think that I am working in this laptop and this data is basically will be kept in laptop, that's not like that. Okay, if I am going to work something in my laptop, that is also going to save in our cloud. So cloud is basically a centralized data store, okay, where all the things are getting stored. If you are working for SAP, that data is also going to store. If you are working for any ERP or any organization's portfolio, everything is going to saved in your cloud. Cloud is faster, quicker. So nowadays, cloud, if someone has a very good knowledge about cloud computing, how does cloud work, what is the implication of cloud, so this is very, very important nowadays. Okay. Apart from that, there are online learning platforms also like LinkedIn Learning. So you will get an ample amount of training in LinkedIn. Okay, so like this training, the one that I am actually giving it to you, so you will get it in your LinkedIn as well. So this is something very, very important, that online learning platform, those are also something you can refer. So how you should build up your resume? So whenever you are building some resume, there should be, you can read it from here. So there should be a header, summary, the skill or the experience that you have. You should put it properly. You should tailor the resume based on your job requirements. So if some of the job descriptions say something maybe like that there is a requirement of a SAP ERP function list, then you should make your resume or tailor your resume based on that job requirement, so that you can give more experience and more exposure on that particular ERP knowledge where the requirement is higher. And obviously, there are other things like portfolio and LinkedIn profile that I have just mentioned. So whenever the recruiters will look forward for your resume, they will first of all go to LinkedIn, Naukri, or some of the platforms, and they will find out from there. And if your resume is suitable, then they will obviously reach out to you for uh, further recruitment perspective. Okay. Some of the resume that basically we are nowadays we should avoid or we should not actually do while preparing the resume, that it should not be a generic template. So it should be detail oriented, and that resume should have a proper explanations of the particular project you have done, how much marks you have got in your examination, or what are the hard skill knowledge that you have. If you have some extracurricular activities like maybe if you are good at photography, good at sports, then obviously you should mention that, because organization obviously prioritize those people who are basically good in sports or maybe with photography or some other extracurricular activities also, because there is a different dimensions in multinational companies. It's not something that everyone has to focus on the work. They have other areas also, other common goals also, where actually as an employee of a private company I need to take care. So this is something also, it is very important, and you should make your resume not lengthy or something. It should be one page with a specific thing that you have done so far. Interview preparation and personal branding. So there is called a STAR method that we basically follow. So STAR method is something whenever we should approach for an interview, we should follow the STAR method. What does the STAR say? STAR is basically specific, S for specific, T for target oriented, A for actual reasoning, and R for the things that is basically required. So we should prepare ourselves for an interview based on this STAR method. Before we go for any interview, it's very important we should have a proper research or some gathering of the knowledge on that particular company. So if someone is going to appear for TCS or maybe some other organization, you should at least know how that particular company actually works, what is their model, how we should actually means when we are going to get into any interview, how we should prepare ourselves. So these are certain things, obviously it's very much required. And nowadays most of the colleges, most of the academic organizations, they are actually preparing the student based on this. Okay, because nowadays this is very important. If someone is seeking for job, so action plan for students, so you should actually identify the skill gaps. If you think that something is required, like say for me, if I think that I need to have a good exposure or good knowledge about the geographical politics currently going on between America, India, Russia, India. So geopolitics, I don't have a very good knowledge on that. But being a senior guy and into this organization for almost quite a few years, I should actually try to learn this, because this is something is very important nowadays, because we are dealing with finance companies. So what will be the current VAT, what is the GST, what is the tax structure that will be imposed to us as an Indian organization, how the geopolitics will work. So this is important. So I can identify myself that this is something, one of the learning point where I should focus myself. Second point for myself, maybe AI, a new AI tool. Like see, nowadays we have ChatGPT 5. Okay. Earlier we have a ChatGPT. What ChatGPT used to do, that is basically a functional AI, or you can say a generative AI. Generative AI is something which will give you something on a structured basis, or will create the framework. Okay, that I need to tell someone based on geopolitics. So generative AI or ChatGPT will prepare some document for me. Based on that, I can deliver that. But nowadays, the world is progressing so fast. Nowadays, instead of generative AI, there is agentic AI. Agentic AI is something where the system will actually work based on the algorithm. So I will ask a question to the system that with respect to geopolitics, I wanted to know what is the tariff imposed by US to India, what is the current role or the current progress on India-Russia trade. Agentic AI will do everything based, and it will ask the agent basically. There are agents also set up in agentic AI, and they will give us a specific result which will be much more accurate, much more relevant. So, so nowadays it's very important that we should upskill ourselves based on that. If I still start working with Chat GPT, probably it won't be too much productive enough, too much helpful for me. But since now there is a new tool, new model, Chat GPT 5, you will see Google Gemini. In fact, nowadays I would say you can prompt something that I want a video like a person will walk, get out of this door and again open that door and come inside. You prompt that, Chat GPT will prepare that particular video for you. So this is literally important. But to use that Chat GPT is important that we should learn that program. Okay. So that's all probably. This is the last slide. So what is basically the career advantage? So skilling plus upskilling, that is your career advantage. Resume, so that is your marketing tool. Okay, the way I prepare my resume, the way I make myself or prepare myself in front of the organizations or during the time of interview, that is the marketing tool. Okay, and second and the third, sorry, the third thing is the continuous learning. So learning is something which will actually benefit you. Okay, even I am in, if I am working here for 16, 17 years, but each and every day I need to learn. Okay, I need to learn a new things so that I can upgrade myself based on the company requirements. Okay, if I still work with Excel, Power, Word document, drafting long emails, okay, basically after a certain point of time, company will feel like uh, I am a hard worker, obviously, but thing is that I am taking much more time, okay, to perform that thing. So to upgrade myself, now I am using different tools, different programs which will actually make that work easier, and I can actually focus myself into different things. So that is basically very important. So till the point you are 40, 45, I would suggest there is a scope of learning. And in fact I still think that the private or the personal learnings will come in means from you itself. Okay, there are a lot of things like program management, PMP, then you have cyber security, then you have other things like programming. So this is something you should learn that will actually help you in going forward. Okay. Okay, yeah, so that's it, and you can read it, some of the sample interview question. This might help you. Okay, that's all. Thank you everyone for your time. Okay,
Thanks, Devajyoti. We can invite a few questions. Do you have any questions? No questions? Okay, so everything was very clear. Okay, so thank you, Devajyoti. And while introducing, I didn't mention that he is a friend from my MCOM days. So remember, college and institutions are not just for building career and learning. It's also creating bond like this, where you get such a good friend also. So we are over with the first session. In few minutes, we'll be starting with the second one, which is on cybersecurity. As Mr. Roy has highlighted, is another important aspect of your career development. Trust me, it's going to be a very interesting session, so don't leave.